Good afternoon, and welcome to the Oregon Employment Department's afternoon media briefing. Thank you for joining us. We're going to give everybody a couple of minutes before we get started to join. Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started. My name is Rebecca Gibson King. I'm the Communications Officer for the Oregon Employment Department. Today's speakers are State Employment Economist Gail Krummenauer, Oregon Employment Department Director David Gerstenfeld, Unemployment Insurance Director Lindsay Leahy, and Karen Meadow-Humelbaugh, who is the Paid Leave Oregon Director. A couple of quick notes. As always, this call is being recorded and we will post the recording on our website after the media briefing is over. We will also take questions after opening remarks. If you have any technical difficulties or are otherwise unable to get your question answered today, please email us at communications@employ.oregon.gov and we will be happy to help you. And I will now, with that said, turn it over to Gail Krummenauer. Thank you. Go ahead, Gail.
Thanks, Rebecca, and thanks to everybody for joining us this afternoon. This morning, the Employment Department released jobs numbers and unemployment rate for June. Oregon employers added 600 jobs to non-farm payrolls. The unemployment rate was 4.1%. Private healthcare and social assistance continued to lead the way in terms of growth, adding 1,200 jobs over the month. Meanwhile, professional and business services lost 1,800 jobs in June. All other broad sectors of Oregon's economy saw relatively little change in employment over the month. Oregon's unemployment rate was 4.1% in June, which was the same as the US. And Oregon's unemployment rate has been pretty stable in recent months, holding at either 4.1 or 4.2% for each of the last 6 months. There's also been relatively little change in terms of overall total non-farm payroll employment. Over the past year, Oregon's added 11,200 jobs. That's a growth rate of 0.6%, which is relatively slow. Now, below that top line number, the trends do vary quite a bit across industries. Private healthcare and social assistance has added 16,600 jobs over the past year, which is a growth rate of nearly 6%. At the same time, several sectors of Oregon's economy have had notable job losses over the past year. That includes a decline of 3,600 jobs each in retail trade and in professional and business services. Oregon's manufacturers also lost 3,500 jobs over the past year. Last week, the Employment Department published a report with details on what an aging workforce, increasing retirements, and slower population and labor force growth mean for the workforce. In the early 1990s, about 1 out of 10 jobs in Oregon and in the US was held by a worker ages 55 or older. Now, nearly 1/4 of all jobs are held by workers ages 55 and older. And many of them could be looking to move into retirement in the coming years. And we're already seeing the rising numbers of people who have moved into retirement. In 2023, there were 786,000 Oregonians who said they were not in the labor force due to retirement. That was an increase of 5% since 2019. And that number is up by 26% over the past decade. Now, to be clear, this isn't a new trend. It's been going on for decades. The added layer in recent years is that Oregon has also seen slower population and labor force growth. So what we have is an aging workforce, more retirements, and mainly fewer people moving here, slower net immigration. So that's causing slower population and by association, slower labor force growth. And then what we do is add to that, that Oregon has had low unemployment. We've had the unemployment rate at or near record lows for about 2 years now, or more than 2 years. And then you add on to that employers continue to have relatively high numbers of job openings. And when you put that all together, all these factors can make it more difficult for employers to find enough workers to fill all their job openings. With that, I will hand it over to Director David Gerstenfeld for more comments. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Gail. Good afternoon, everyone. Today, I'd like to give a general update on our progress in improving customer service since we changed our phone hours in the beginning of June. As we've shared previously, we changed our regular phone hours and temporarily closed support phone lines on Mondays for the unemployment insurance, paid leave Oregon, and contribution and recovery programs. We took these measures to give our teams more time to focus on resolving claims and get caught up on our workload. In other words, focusing on the things that we know Oregonians need us to do and the things that they call us about. After 6 full weeks, I'm happy to report that it's working. We're using the extra time to resolve issues, respond to written questions, and review information customers have sent us. We've made progress and have been able to provide better overall customer service because of this. And I'll start with some highlights before handing off to Unemployment Insurance Director Lindsay Leahy and Paid Leave Oregon Director Karen Madden-Hummelbaugh to share some more details about their respective programs. But in paid leave, we've reduced the number of claims that are older than 6 weeks by 46%. In unemployment insurance, we've made progress resolving claim issues that are holding up 1 or more weeks of potential payments for people. Originally, we were focused on reducing the issues that were 6 weeks or older. Since then, we're able to center our work on the issues that are actually holding up benefits for people, not just those that might hold up benefits in the future. And we've made enough progress that we're now focused more on those issues that are 3 weeks or older instead of 6 weeks or older. We're still working to hire and train additional employees, something that, as we've said, will take until mid to late August. But the work we've already done means that we are now resolving more claims more quickly. And while there will always be some claims that are more complex and take more time, there are fewer of those, and those are getting done more quickly also. It's important to note that we've been experiencing the higher workload that we anticipated since the start of the new fiscal year, so we're monitoring things closely to ensure that we don't lose the progress we've made. We're encouraged, though, and I'm proud of the effort our team is putting in, but we still have a long way to go to achieve the level of customer service that Oregonians deserve. We continue to monitor the data and work on other areas of customer service. Our goal is to maintain this positive trajectory. We believe it will eventually impact call wait times for the unemployment insurance program and put us in the best position to sustain long-term success. We're already seeing this for Paid Leave Oregon. We appreciate the continued support and partnership of our customers, the public, the legislature, and the governor, and we'll continue to report on our progress as we move forward. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Lindsay Leahy, our Unemployment Insurance Director.
Thank you, David. As of Sunday, July 14th, we have completed 20 weeks of unemployment insurance benefits in Francis Online, distributing more than $277 million in benefits to our customers in that time. As David mentioned, we have made progress when it comes to resolving claim issues that are holding up payment for customers. This is critical to improving our customer service overall. As of June 17th, just over 2 weeks after changing our phone hours and temporarily closing inbound phone lines on Mondays, we had roughly 8,200 total hold pay issues. About 1,600, or just under 20% of them, were 6 weeks or older. A month later, We have reduced that workload to roughly 1,300 or 11.4% of the overall total. I do want to note that this is a rolling total. Each week, those numbers change as unresolved issues are resolved or get older, and new issues are also identified. Looking at the 3 weeks or less time frame, we set out a month ago to improve that percentage to 80% or better on a weekly basis. When we set the goal, 60% of hold pay issues were 3 weeks old or less. Currently, that figure sits at just over 75% of the current total of approximately 11,400 hold pay issues. Now, the total overall number of hold pay issues is higher than it was a month ago, which is expected since the overall claim volume has increased since the start of the new fiscal year. Despite the higher workload, we continue to make progress on our goal. We also hit a new high in the percentage of customers using Francis Online to file their weekly claims, passing 97% for the week ending July 6th. It's encouraging to see that more and more customers are using the system over time. I would like to thank our employees for their continued effort and dedication through this major transition. Together, we will keep improving our customer service for Oregonians. With that, I'll hand things over to Karen Madden-Hummelbaugh for an update on Paid Leave Oregon.
Thanks, Lindsay. We have a few updates to share this week, starting with encouraging data on our efforts to process claims and improve customer service. There are many metrics we use to assess the volume and quality of our work, but the top 3 we look to are the total number of identity verified open claims, the number of claims that are more than 6 weeks old, and the average time from application to payment. And while there will always be some open claims, checking whether the total number is rising, falling, or holding steady gives us a good sense of whether our staffing, systems, and capacity are keeping up with demand. At our last press briefing, I was happy to share that since May 31st, we had reduced the total number of open claims by nearly 29%. In the month since then, we've reduced our total by an additional 6%. This 35% reduction is due in part to Focus Mondays and our recent hiring push. While this number will level out eventually, we see this reduction as a strong indication that we are moving quickly and in the right direction. The second important metric we use is the number of open claims older than 6 weeks. These are often complex claims, and we want to reduce the number of customers who experience particularly long waits for payment. David mentioned a few minutes ago, but we are very proud to report that since May 31st, we've reduced the number of claims older than 6 weeks by more than 45%. At the same time, we've seen the number of applications we process in fewer than 6 weeks increase significantly. Our average time from application to payment has held steady at around 29 days, but thanks to our continued efforts, customers are less likely to wait longer than 6 weeks. One additional point that I want to share is that we have now provided over $500 million in paid leave benefits to customers. This is allowing them to take time off for life's most important moments, and it is an exciting milestone for the program. In addition to our encouraging trends and data, we have some legislative updates to share. Since our last media briefing, Senate Bill 1515 went into effect, which clarified how employees can use Oregon Family Leave Act, known as OFLA, paid time off or PTO, and workers' compensation alongside their Paid Leave Oregon benefits. We have resources available on our website at paidleave.oregon.gov to help employees and employers navigate these changes. We also published our July 2024 legislative report. This 51-page report is available also on our website. It is a great source of economic, demographic, and financial data that we have collected since launching the program. And with that, I'll hand it back to Rebecca Gibson-King for the Q&A portion of the briefing.
Thanks, Karen. We are now opening the lines to members of the media to ask questions. If you're joining us by phone, please make sure to hit *6 to unmute yourself. As a courtesy, please limit yourself to one question and one follow-up question. And as always, if you don't get your question answered today, please email us at communications@employ.oregon.gov. I want to see if I have any hands raised, and I don't. So I'm going to give it another few minute or so to see if anybody has a question. All right, I am not seeing any questions, so I am going to wrap this up. So I know a lot of people are on vacation this week, and they will have the pleasure of viewing the recording of this briefing later today. So as a reminder, this call was recorded. We will be sending out the recording to everybody who RSVP'd. We will be posting it on the media page at oregon.gov/employ under news and agency information. Thank you for participating today, and thank you for your partnership to keep Oregonians informed. Take care.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.